ladies and gentlemen, to the Melting Pot. This is where we discuss issues pertaining to Liberia, and we bring forth opinions on our different discussions and make recommendations to our people in Liberia, leaders and Liberians as a whole. And as we discuss the issues, we hope that opinion leaders and our leaders in our country can take a cue from our analysis and our opinions provided. The Melting Pot is the Liberia Sustainable Development Think Tank. And I am your regular host, the Reverend Dr. Clarence R. Pearson, and I have with me two of my esteemed panelists. They're going to introduce themselves. I'll start with Reverend Thomas Johnson.
Well, I'm Thomas Johnson. I live in New York City. It's a delight to always have the privilege of participating here on this platform to add my voice to the many voices across the globe discussing issues in Liberia with the fervent hope that what we say and do here will be impactful and will contribute to the changing of the discord, changing of the dynamics in politics in Liberia, leading towards a wholesome functioning society.
And of course, my dynamic co-host.
Yeah. Once again, it's an opportunity. I'm humbled to be here today. I have already been introduced. My name is Emmanuel Dekia, and it's a pleasure being here. I mean, every Monday we are ready to give our audience some of the theater. I mean, the different dramas that unfold in Liberia. We are not here to serve as judges. We are here to make recommendations. We are here to discuss the issues so that the Liberian people can make judgments for themselves. So again, we are ready. Let's get started.
Right. So what's cooking tonight? What's cooking tonight? Please share this show. Thank you for coming on. We appreciate your coming on the live. Please share this live. What's cooking tonight? The National Legislature is our focus point of discussion tonight. That's the hot topic in Liberia. Running from the representative wants to kick out their speaker. Then there comes in the allegation that President Boyka is involved. And then someone said, no, CDC is trying to kick out their own man, House Speaker Jonathan Kofa. And then someone said, oh, okay, but then money was involved. Each of the speakers were promised, the representative were promised $25,000, and some of them have received up to $15,000 of that amount. And in fact, the LACC is even looking into that. What are the issues from the LACC? We'll be listening to some of those allegations. And but sad to say, some of our women are involved. Women in the National Legislature are involved. First time in history of Liberia, we are hearing that women in the lower house, in the House of Representatives, are involving taking bribe. Usually, this will just be among the guys. But now our mothers are being dragged into this. So, and these are worrying situations and worrying times for our discussion. But before we go into this discussion, I just want to hear from my esteemed panelists. First of all, we hear Tewon Gongolo speaking to the issue, even though he's not on our list tonight. But do we want to listen to him a little bit, and then we can comment on what he said?
Absolutely.
Right.
Yeah, before going to the meat of our discussion, let's see what Tewon Gongolo has to say.
Under Liberian law, specifically Chapter 9 of the Code of Conduct for public officials and government employees, and Chapter 12 under Liberian law, specifically Chapter 9 of the Code of Conduct for public officials and government employees, and Chapter 12 of the penal law, bribery is classified as a second-degree felony, punishable by up to 5 years of imprisonment. The law unequivocally prohibits any public servant from receiving, soliciting, or accepting bribes in exchange for official actions or for neglecting their duties.
So there you have it. Tewon Gongolo is making an argument that under our Code of Conduct, Section 9, and our penal law, criminal law, Article 12 of our criminal law prohibits robbery, and then it's punishable up to 5 years in prison. Now, and that's what one of the leading conversation around this whole stuff before we get even into the main topic. What say you?
Well,
let's start with Dr. Deke.
yeah. You know, this whole drama that is in Liberia, we need to really get to the bottom of this. And I would like to start with a question: how many persons have gone to jail because of bribery in Liberia? Can we count them? The logs are on the book. Well, Councillor Gongolo just stated it clearly, according to the penal code. But how are we upholding the laws? That's how I want to start from first. You know, because we have had lawmakers that have gone to court. We have had government officials in the past that were involved, allegedly involved in the corruptions. We have sent them to court. What has been the result? People goes in the government with the mindset that, okay, I can just go and take whatever I want because I feel like Liberia laws are not, they do not uphold the law, but people are not held accountable, but this should serve as a precedent. The president of the Republic of Liberia, the judiciary of Liberia, they need to stand up. They need to do something. They need to uphold the law. All those who are involved in this whole bribery, I have a different context to this whole thing. Who received money and come on the popular media, displayed almost 15,000 United States dollars on the media, claiming that he received this money. He was bribed. He received the list. He has an original list in his hands. Look, Dr. Pearson, I'm a researcher. There are many things that played in my mind. How did he get the list? I mean, were there some fighting that went on, and he was able to overpower the guys to get the listing? How did he come out? Did they give it to him? He ran away with it. These are investigations that we have to do. I'm not erasing the fact that there was bribery that went on, whether it was behind door, whether it was at the front. I'm not going to erase that. But the question is that the people are playing with the mindset of the Liberian people. They are deceiving us. They are lying to us. They are enriching themselves. And these attitudes have to stop. So the Liberia need to exhibit some form of strength when it comes to prosecuting corrupt government officials. The legislatures have to be held accountable. All those involved, they have to be investigated. They have to go to court, and they have to serve time if they are found guilty.
Reverend Thomas, what's your opening view on this whole thing as well?
Well, I just like to interject by saying that we have not learned our lesson, despite the fact that great government officials were executed under the quote-unquote corruption, 13 government officials. And that history is there for Liberians to see. And that was tragic for the country. Subsequent to that, we had a civil war that was based on injustice. And now what we did after that war, we put into power folks that were guilty of the most awesome crimes, the destruction or disregard of human lives. So they've gotten away with that. The power to be have gotten away with that. Now the thing though, that bribery is a lesser offense. So it has become like a culture in the country. So the question to us is, will we allow this to continue? All of these grievous disrespect of human life, grievous disrespect of the resources, the treasure of the country by a few persons, will the citizenry continue to allow that to happen? And then that's what takes us to the foundation of our laws, of our electoral process. How do we get people to occupy positions of power? How do we? Who finance their campaigns? So I would say to, excuse my French, to hell with you, you the citizen, as long as I'm not getting my money to finance my campaign from you, you're not contributing anything. So I get into position, I'm controlling the budget. I do what I will because I'm not answerable to you. This is the kind of culture we have to change. All right. The laws can be followed if the citizens have power enough to push their representatives to obey the law and hold their feet to the fire. But if at all across the spectrum of governance, you have people that constantly violate the laws with impunity, who is going to hold them responsible? So that culture of impunity has to be broken by the citizens. And I'm glad now we are in the time, a new age where we all can add our voices to it. But the citizens do have power. If we don't trust the court system, if we don't trust all of those mechanisms we put into place, the citizen can rise up and hold their governments responsible.
So I'm interested in the counts that you guys have listed. Count one, they said Speaker Kofa has been in the business of taking contracts from the executive government, the executive branch of government rather, and he has a couple of contracts with a few ministries, agencies, and state-owned enterprises where he's serving as either consultant or legal counsel or his law firm that he's supposedly supposed to have relinquished link to because of his role in government, but they say he's still benefiting from those connections. Another thing they said was that he's impeding the fight against corruption, but circumventing audit of the lower house. The guys in the statement read today said, in fact, the Senator Yomli Kanda Lawrence, the Senate pro tempore, went through with the audit or however they called it of the Senate, and they got the reports, but Speaker Kofa, on the other hand, drove the GSC out of their offices, out of the capital, refusing for them to be audited. And last but not the least, they said that he appointed people to the ECOWAS Parliament, not actually giving the body, the lower house, the chance to appoint their own people, but instead he appointed them as he would appoint committee chairs in the. So let us look at those three counts and let's see what our opinions are on the three counts. What is our opinion on those three counts? Let's start with you, Dr. Deke.
Well, we first of all discover the absence of teamwork. So it tells us that the speaker allegedly not working alongside with his team member. And in order to succeed as a genuine, true leader, you have to work with those who are with you. So, and another interesting thing is a conflict of interest. These things needs to be investigated by a neutral party so that we can discover whether all these allegations that they are making, whether they are true, because you cannot be, I mean, I'm just using their words. You cannot be the speaker of the United States and you are involved into private businesses has been claimed. There are some limitations based on your function. So if he's involved, as it's been alleged, then it requires thorough investigation because it means that he's doing something outside of what he's being obligated to do. So why do they want to move him? Is it that he's doing the right thing? He wants to bring in, some good logs in the house and is going against certain people, or why to say that he doesn't want to accept audits? In any institution, financial audit counts a whole lot because people has to be held accountable. You entrust people with money we're having. There has to be the accountability. So we, the Liberian people, we have entrusted the legislature. We have given them their responsibilities, so they are accountable to us. So if he refuses to hold his members so that they all can work together to be accountable, then that's an issue. Now, even though the audits that have been going on in Liberia, I'm not, personally, in line with that because sometimes they just go behind the door and they do these audits. We want to see a more, more impartial audits, in the future, so that Liberian people can say, yes, we entrusted our country in the hands of these people. But what is going on here is a game. Look, this game, I saw it during Edwin Snow's time. Remember when he was speaker? It was the same. It was similar stuff that happened. Money came under the carpet, and what happened? It was during Ellen Johnson Sirleaf time, right? I don't know if I'm wrong. You can correct me. And what happened? The former speaker, now who's a senator, he was removed. So people, money is always being used in Liberia for people to take power. State people have always been successful when people use money. And the Liberian people need to change their mentality. Do not vote for people because they gave you bags of rice or they gave you t-shirts. They will use you tomorrow. And this is what happened. They are after themselves. They are enriching themselves. They pay themselves. But I just don't catch something. How can you give somebody $15,000? And he has so much signature of the people who have received their money. How was he the one dispensing the money? Or this is something that beats my imagination, because if I'm going to have a conversation with Dr. Pearson and say, look, I want to give you $15,000 and I want to bribe you so that we can kick out Reverend Thomas out of the Melting Pot show. That is a mutual understanding between you and myself, where I have a sheet here that other group of people are already signed. So how will Reverend Thomas take the sheet from you or from me after I giving him money? So they need to come out and really explain what really happened. Somebody is afraid for certain things to happen. They are trying to digging hole and covering hole. They need to come up and tell us the real thing. I still don't believe what happened at that house. Somebody is afraid to leave, or somebody is pumping in money because they want to change. You ever say now we have blamed Unity Party government, blaming the CDC government, the CDC government blaming individuals in the house. What is going on? So, like I said, we have already communicated with some members in the House of Congress in the U.S., United States, because these are the same thing that happened during the Pro government. And this has to stop. And now it's just 10 months going to 11 months. And we've seen so much money flooding the streets in Monrovia, and the people are suffering. They are in absolute poverty. So the United States has to come in now, so that they can start slapping these guys with essentially what they did during the Pro government. And very soon, you're going to see some lists going to be coming up. So that's the only way some of these things will go away. There is no way you can stop these people. How do you expect a doctor to treat himself when he's a doctor? You expect another doctor to treat that doctor. So that's what happened in Liberia. Those guys are in power. They already used to power. How are they going to hold themselves accountable?
What's your view on this as well?
Well, the Constitution establishes clearly in Article 49 the process of removing the Speaker of the House of Representatives. It says there must be a cause, and the cause has to be clearly defined. In the resolution in the bid to remove Speaker Kofi, you mentioned the causes that were cited. Number one, bribery. All right. But then the irony is we see bribery on both ends. The Speaker Kofi's bribery has not yet been proven, but then it has been established through Representative Luther Collins that those opting to remove the Speaker did receive partial bribes of $15,000. And the second half, $10,000 will come. So there's a conflict here. Another issue that we're concerned about is the fact that it was cited that the Speaker has a legal interest, that he represents several government agencies, and this impedes the effort of the government to prosecute certain cases. They did not cite those specific areas where Speaker Kofi's law firm have been engaged in certain cases that impeded government's operation. Nothing was cited. In addition, they mentioned that Speaker Kofa was indicted in the United States and found guilty. Now they've gone back a few years, but he was deputy speaker for about 6 years.
Right.
So it seems to be that they're digging up debt. So this is confusing. But whatever has to happen, they must ensure that it's transparent. They go through due diligence, fairness, and adherence to the rule of law. So that should have taken them to go to the chambers of the House and make their case in the chamber of the House before the legislature assembled. But instead of doing that, there was conflict that erupted and everything, and they did that in the absence of the speaker, which I think was really unusual. But the speaker is back. So the trial must come tomorrow. Let's see what happens tomorrow. But it must be done in keeping with the rules of law and in a transparent way. They have the right to remove a speaker, but it has to be done in the right way. Otherwise, we'll have chaos.
Right. So Dr. Deke, he asked a very same question when he said, how did the guy manage to get the resolution that they were signing off on to get the money? Let hear him. I'm not going to play the video because we probably might have the rights to that video because it was done by another guy, another group. But at least we can play the audio. Is that okay?
Yeah, I managed to hear that too. So play that.
Everybody's here. Probably what happened because this is Representative Collins who's saying how he got the document from them.
This is the rebel group listing. We were called by them to make sure that Honorable Luther signed on the listing, and they were able to give him 15,000. Based upon that, we arrived on the scene, and we for them were able to get a listing for them. They gave each person 15,000. At the end of the day, after the process, they give you the balance 10,000. This is the listing, as you can see. Lawmaker has signed and received 15,000 to illegally remove the speaker. This is the honorable who received the 15,000 and Luther and the money, as you can see. Please display the money. This is the money, 15,000 out of US. Colette took extra money from only again. Colette who also facilitating the process to remove the speaker. So this is a rebel listing. The total number they get is 47 to make sure that they remove the speaker. And these have been sponsored. These have been sponsored by Honorable Thomas Fala and the Vice President of the Republic of Liberia, Jeremiah Criminal Coon. These are the things they involved in because they refuse to conduct audit. This guy refused to conduct audit after the speaker agreed that the world should be audited for transparency and accountability. Based upon that, the plotted against the honorable speaker for the So we have the listing here. We for them, and at the end of the day, we kept on the listing. Thank you.
We call it all.
So the minister.
You don't look happy this morning. What's going on?
Yeah,
you don't look happy to enter the very side. You are very side entering into the grounds of the Capitol. What's going on? You don't look happy. What is the meaning of this sponsor? Strong allegation against the vice president. Very strong. You must cease to be joking. How is it possible when they get closer to the vice president? You don't look happy. You don't look happy. You don't look happy. How is it block? The Kufe?
So,
yeah, that appears. I mean, I didn't want for Representative Yeke to distract us, from what we were trying to raise because there are some significant issues over there. Whatever transaction that was within that vehicle, it doesn't seem real to me. That's my personal opinion.
Let us not forget, Representative Clarence Clarence Va, I think. He has none of them have denounced this list. None of them have said the list is fake. They all have agreed it is their signature, and they had a press conference today and they said they still stand by their decision.
So the question here is that they fought the rebel group, quote unquote, and they took the list. And he said that he received $15,000, and another person took $200 of the money, and he had 14,800 United States dollars in his hands. He showed it was public. No, they fought the rebel group. They took the money, and he commented, okay, I agree, that's true. You know, they fought them. They took the list. The signatures are there. And they're trying to tell the Liberian people that they have all received bribe. Okay, that means that they have accepted. He has accepted the guilt. The other guys have already, some of them accepted. So what we need to do now is let's go through the court process.
So let's go through the court process. But on that note, this is one of my views on the issue. So as they say in law, right? Attorney and client relationship has to be mutual, and in fact, legal consultancy or legal to retain a legal counsel or to attain a legal counsel, it has to be solicited. So if I'm in trouble, if I have an issue or I have legal matters that I need some support on, I will go and obtain legal counsel. So are we saying President Boakai, who is the president of the Republic of Liberia and chief executive of the executive, hired Fonati Kofa law firm and Fonati as an individual to be the legal counsel for his government? Is that what we're saying here?
That's what we're hearing.
We're indicting Fonati for Joseph Boakai's decision to hire him?
That's what we're hearing, and that's what we're seeing. You know, that the PS in Liberia discussion is so hard to have, you know, because there's so many things happening. People goes with impunity. We all understand. In America, what his name, Councillor Kofa, was indicted. Yeah, he went through the court process. He was convicted. Yeah, he served his term. He paid he paid back. He left. The Liberian people elected him. It's not only him who is wanted for, or maybe who have served, who have some bad past. Even Senator Prince Johnson, you can name them in that house. The Liberian people have always elected the wrong people. They will leave out.
You don't know Liberian people. The question I'm asking.
I'm getting there. I'm getting what you're saying. I'm getting what you're saying. That appears in.
The legal services were hired by the executive because they're accusing the ministries, the agencies, and SOEs.
But why would the executive interfere into the problems of the judiciary?
No, but they're the one hiring. They're the one hiring the law.
This is my take on it.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
And this is not unprecedented because Richard Henry had a law firm. He had a very big law firm that existed a long time. He was Speaker of the House. But the caveat is, if anything involves your own interests, the firm, he's just one of the members of the law firm. He has several lawyers. So if it involves him directly, he recuses himself, and his fellow lawyers take on the case. We have not had evidence to show that there was any particular case involved where he interfered in this case. Nothing was cited. So I have the conflict of interest has not yet been convincingly pointed to. In the absence of that, I mean, I think it's just a moot argument. All right, because the law does not prevent that from happening. All of them, for instance, they were all supposed to declare their assets before they started work in the legislature. They have not done so. Okay, so we could even indict them on that. They may not be qualified to serve in this position because of their failures to declare their assets. All right. The other point is this bribery. This bribery. Clearly, the evidence has been shown that they did take bribe.
Right.
So will the LACC investigate this case, or will it go to the Department of Justice?
But before we go there,
Yes.
what I really want, and Dr. Deke, help me out here. What I really want to understand is that President Boyka came to power on the mantra of no business as usual. And he also came on the mantra of transparency and accountability. He also came and said that the We Are administration did, everything absolutely did wrong and bad. That's what they are campaigning on. So let's assume they took power. They went after this guy to the Supreme Court that he shouldn't be speaker because of these very same things. So when they took over and he appointed his ministers, his directors, and his commissioners, why didn't he sever the ties between his entities that he has control over, the executive? Why did he cut the ties of these? If they're still there as they claiming, why didn't he cut those ties? Why didn't he just say, you know what, I don't want maybe in his retreat, in his cabinet meetings, I don't want any government institution deep doing business with Fanatic Kofa's law firm or hiring Fanatic Kofa as legal counsel. Why didn't they just cut the ties?
And these are the situations
right now.
That the PSC, this is Liberia problem. Liberia has a systemic problem. And to resolve this problem, we have to change the recycle politicians. This is business as usual. So if the president said that, well, this is not going to be business as usual, I don't believe him. There are a lot of things that President Boyka has said and never came out to be true. Most of them are untrue. Today we can see that. He said that he was going to hold his officials accountable. If you are not prepared to work, he was going to dismiss you. We saw this in the Propo government. We brought this to the attention of former President George Weah. He didn't listen. Today, he's gone. Here is now we have President Boyka, who came out doing his inauguration speech. He made a very beautiful speech. And we were really thinking that he was going to hold these things. Look at today. In just 10 months, the money we're talking about, I don't know if it's even if we can even equate this to the Propo government when the container of money that got missing. I mean, so much money just getting missing in the country. There is no responsible government that can handle the country. You can even take out the Unity Party government right now and bring a delivering government there. I always say there will be another team that will be called deliverance team. Go have a rescue team. They are going to be old wine and getting into our new glasses. So nothing is going to be different. But let me look at the Fanatic Kofa case. I'm not going to discuss his past. That's his life, And it's not only him who has a past in the House of Representatives and the House of Senate in Liberia. We are known for electing wicked people who have bad past. So we're not going to discuss it. We want to give them a second chance. So if Mr. Fanatic Kofa has a law firm and people doing businesses with him, now why should you use collective guilt? So for instance, I have a school in Liberia. Do you know that people blame me of everything that happened at my school, even though I have people who run the school? This is how Liberia do things. So maybe, and I want to be sure that this speaker is not even personally participating in these different issues, but because he owns the law firm, so that it's a collective guilt. But we have to be, it has to be shown, it has to be proven beyond all reasonable doubt that Fanatic Kofa is involved. He's doing business with the executive. He's doing business with these people. Where can we find the evidence? They need to come up. We can just put things together and try to dismiss people because we don't like the style of leadership. You elected this person. You praised this person. You brought them on the Liberian people. Today, you are saying the man is not a good person. He doesn't have a good leadership style. He's not a team player. You didn't see that years back. The man was a deputy speaker. You didn't see that during his tenure. It's just that President Boyka, who served as a vice president for almost 12 years plus. He came out and said, oh, my Liberian people, I was a packed car. I couldn't do nothing. You gave me the presidency. And we fought for it. We are giving President Boyka the presidency. What's the result? That's a PSN. This is a spoiled system. How can we fix it? Reverend Thomas, how can we fix this system?
Well, the first thing we have to acknowledge is the human flaw. All right. a group of people could be fooled by someone that beautifully articulate the position and their statements, but we must all be aware of the fact that human beings have flaws, and those flaws are referred to as tragic flaws. And in Shakespeare, I don't want to go to literature, he wrote extensively on the theme of fair is foul and foul is fair. Example, King Richard. Then he wrote Measure for Measure. In Measure for Measure, it was this old man, old king, who was severely criticized by a younger person. The younger person felt that the old king was weak, was lawless, so that he, the younger person, wanted to take over the government to clean up. The king decided to leave and leave the young person in charge. He goes away, stays a few months. He said, while I'm away, just clean up everything, the prison system, every area, because I want to come back to a clean state. While the old man is away, the young man goes into prison and he starts following the laws, executing people. But meanwhile, one of the prisoners there had a relative that was a woman. And this relative, this old king advised the woman to disguise herself, to go in the young man's office and expose herself. So she does this, she exposes herself, and the young king is enticed and violates the woman's right. So now the king is coming back. He said, I want to come back to a clean country. Whoever has something to say, come meet me at the gate. Everybody dresses up, then go meet the king. The young man is in his regalia, say, I clean up the whole thing. There's no more corruption. Meanwhile, this young woman comes up and says, while you're away, king, this man you left in charge violated me. And yet he executed my brother. I pleaded with him to the best I could, but in addition to violating me sexually, yet he executed my brother. So the lesson here, to cut long story short, is fair is foul and foul is fair. The difference between good and evil is like the other side of the paper. So for someone coming and say, I'm going to clean them, I'm better than you, don't take that at face value, because human beings do have flaws. Unless your flaw is exposed, you may get away. So Mr. Boakai comes in and decides he's going to do something different than we see him doing, repeating the mistakes of the past. That shows that it's a human flaw issue. So how can we address this? All right, there are partners that are willing to help us. People at the lower edge of society do not have the power to lobby the United States Congress to get Congress to act. People within the past opposition were able to do that, and that's why we have sanctions. So those of us on this side that are seeing the flaws and talking about, we can get up and lobby the Congress and say, Congress, we thought things would have changed in Liberia, but things are not changing. Look at the evidence. Look at the legislature. See how they are taking bribes. Look at the last budget that was passed. See how that budget was tampered with. So we need your help to strengthen our structures, to strengthen our dynamics. Unless you do that, things will go to zero again, because you've put in a lot of money in this country, but we are not having results. So we need you to come and really sanction people that are guilty of violating the laws. Of course, bribery, we have cited. We have all the evidence. We have all the cases involved. We need that help, and it will take us on this side to lobby the Congress to come and help. So that's one of the solutions.
So one big question here now. Now, the presidency of President Joseph Yaman Boakai, from the office of the Ministry of Information, Culture, and Tourism, published a statement and said they know nothing about what's going on at the legislature. Are we in agreement that the president knows nothing about that whole scam to get Speaker Kofa from that position? Is he politically naive to that whole play?
that the PSN, you don't need a rocket scientist to understand that the whole thing is a game being played, and it's against the Liberian people. It's in their favor. They go and sit back in the discourse and behind closed door, and they come out and tell the Liberian people what they want to hear. But again, I was born in Liberia. From the time I got to know myself to come to the United States, we Liberians, we have always solved yesterday problems. Growing up in Liberia, I found that when I got to open my eyes, the first money that I saw was Doe coins. Then I asked the question, before Doe coins, what were you guys using? They said we used to use US dollars. Then President Doe said I would pay America. I'm just trying to create, I'm connecting something. Where our problems came from, And then they said the president said at that time they were going to pay America debt. So they changed their currency. Fast forward. Our problem started. We started executing one another. I was a kid. I saw those things happening in Liberia. We said, and then some people left the country. Even though Bouaka was dismissed from LPNC. Charles Taylor, other people dismissed. They came to America. They formed themselves into a group. They said they were coming to liberate us, the country. Today, you can see the true liberation from these people. Today, they had the power. Some of them became president. Some of them, they went, and today they have one elected position. See what they have done. So we keep solving yesterday problem, and we are not solving tomorrow problems.
But do you agree that Bouaka has knows nothing about what's going on?
For my response, I wouldn't believe that. I wouldn't believe to say that the executive doesn't know. Then the executive in Liberia is a history that the executive always interfere into the legislature and the judiciary problem. It's not new. I don't need to be a rocket scientist to understand this is total. It's a game plan that being played by everyone. What it needs to do now is that, like we're saying, we are engaging the United States and other countries so they can come to our rescue. And very soon, I can promise you that some top officials of the Bouaka government are going to be censured because our people are suffering. Right now the people they are suffering. I cannot even give a description, an adjective for their level of poverty, but the American government need to come to the rescue. We just have a little delay because the election are going on. Right after the election, America is going to step in. And then just how the sanction some top officials of the previous government, the pro government, there will be some officials. We are aware, and it's going to happen. The whole country is going to shake. We want to tell the people, let it be patient. There is something good coming, and it's going to happen soon.
Thank you, sir. Reverend Thomas, you believe the government, the president have no idea on this thing?
Well, here's my take on this. And I'm reminded of Nancy Pelosi's statement that you put a statement out there, be it false, all right? You circulate it in the news media, and the networks play it over and over and over. You know it's a lie. But as long as the masses are hearing that, they will believe it. So in the absence of investigation about the sources of this money that the representatives received, in the absence of that, anything would hold water. But let's go to the source. Who provided this money to these legislators? I think that investigation might be underway. Right? If it is forensic, it will lead us to the source. And if the executive is masking innocence, we might find something contrary to that. Okay, but I'm not one to take things at face value. I want a deeper digging to see whether the executive is truly, not involved. But given Liberian political culture, the executive has always been involved,
right,
in trying to shift things.
And Reverend Thomas, we just received information. I don't know whether it's authentic. There have been some corruption at the LRRC and the Water and Sewer Corporation, and they said that's where the money came from. So I just want to bring that out. They said the money that is being spent at the Capitol now is from those entities. I did not part of the executive. If it is true now, I did not entities that form part of the executive branch of government. I'm just asking the question. That appears you can come in.
Right. Before I touch that, my attention is drawn to this is not the first attempt of the UP-led government to try to oust Speaker Kofi, right? I think they tried to prevent it from happening from the beginning of the speakership elections by trying to take him to the courts. That did not work. And I know that Yega Koruba also showed us a coupon of furniture that were being given them lawmakers to vote him out. And when he blew the whistle, the vendor of that coupon had already acknowledged that it was guaranteed, but then failed to cash it in because of the political noise that followed. And he took it to the Liberia National Police, and nothing came out of it. And now we find this happening again. I mean, I'm doubtful if anything will come out of it any further also. But again, it goes to say, yeah, you're right. We are hearing that, and the LACC has also published a press release saying that they got information and documents to show that the money came from Water and Sewer Corporation and from another entity called the Transport Ministry, the Transport Authority, Liberia Transport Authority, something like that. However it is, we'll wait and see where the evidence will lead. But President George Mannen Weah, former President George Mannen Weah, is saying that he condemns this plot, but yet instead there are some who believe that his hand is behind this. Do we agree that his hand is behind it because he's afraid of Fanatic Kofi in 2029?
Well, that appears I know we're going to bring in former President Weah, his condemnations about the whole issue. But let me remind you, before President Ellen Johnson Sirleaf left office, there were people who were indicted by the anti-corruption entity. Their names were published. It was posted. What have happened to that? Today, some of them are outside of the country. Some of them are living in the country. Today, you have warlords that are living in the country. You give them the best and suited positions that they make decisions in your interest. And today, you're asking us what is going to come out of this. Nothing is going to come out of it that appears. We're just going to talk about this, and then the sleeping dog is going to lie. And I'm telling you, because this thing here is a well-playing game. This is not from one person. This was orchestrated by a group of people. And those people are people who are in well-quitted positions. So you're not going to get them. Now, with President Weah's statement, former President Weah's statement is in twofold. The first context is that it's politically motivated. The second one is that he's trying to, tell paint the Unity Party government that they are responsible. So he wants to get a political point that, yes, I'm not part of this. Kofi is our guy. We are not part of anything to impinge him. Is it true or not? The question is that is President Weah saying the truth? Who knows? Again, it requires investigation. Who knows whether he's not the one that provided the money? Who knows whether it's not Bwaga that instructed his people to provide the money? I mean, this whole thing is a game that the PSA. That's my conclusion. It is a game that our people that we entrusted with our position, they continue to play with us. They play with the lives of the common people. People are dying. They are struggling. They are in abject poverty. They don't want to create a budget that will increase and better the lives of the people, but they are enriching themselves. $15,000 and the people cannot afford a bag of rice. I stopped there where it comes.
And that's lamentable. I hope it's possible to add another layer to the investigative team, LACC. I know it's a Liberian entity, but to my mind, it's mainly controlled by the executive. So the need to have an independent body investigating this matter is very paramount, because you have the executive involved, you have past administration, and there are loyalties people hold to these individuals. Therefore, the need to have an independent body investigating the corruption issue, the bribery issue is very important. Let's lobby for that to happen. Whether President George Manuel Weah is just posturing for political relevance. I think that's what's happening, because people are saying these things are happening. What is your take? Even Mr. Cummings came out with a statement condemning the effort to remove a Speaker of the House of Representatives. He postulated that that should be done legally. There are so many other voices, but we need to go to the source of these matters. And we can only get to the source of these corruption issues and bribery issues if we have a transparent process, co-sponsored by the local LACC and an international body. Because with the Iraq we're in, it's time for rebuilding. The question to us is, are we going to be rebuilding on this old corrupt structures and systems, or we will rebuild on transparency, accountability, and firm foundations? And this is where we come in, Doc. The time that we are spent, both of you, the time we are spending here is significant. So let our voices matter. Let's pull all the ropes we can. Let's muster all the effort we can to get the United States government involved in this issue.
Well, on this platform, I can announce that we did reach out to the U.S. Congress. We did reach out also to the U.S. ambassador in Liberia. We reached out to UNMIL, not UNMIL, but UN. We reached out to AU and ECOWAS and EU, and it was confirmed by Speaker Kofa in a brief press conference that the Americans have gotten involved. And before we get to Speaker Kofa, Deputy Speaker also is to be behind this thing. So the theorists are many. They say Deputy Speaker Thomas Falah is behind this thing. This guy is a guy who they say he keep money in your house. He can't keep it in the bank. He can keep it in the house in back. He rests back. And he found those who distributing the money with interest in that position.
Yeah, the situation is complex, you know. Here is a deputy speaker being pursued by angry crowd over alleged plot against Speaker Kofa. I mean, Speaker Kofa and the Deputy Speaker Falah, they are from the same political party. You know, the theory is just not catching up. Is it that this Deputy Speaker here, Falah, want to be the Speaker of the House, so he's pumping in money so that his colleagues can, you know, take out the Speaker Kofa and pull Deputy Speaker Falah there? We saw that too. I mean, in the past, not always like to speak from experience. We saw that in the House before this government. I think it was during Ellen time. When Snow, after they took off Snow, who went there? If somebody can help me, who was the speaker after they took off Snow? Was it oh my God. And I'm Montgomery. What's the name there? Now Buffer Chamber now. I mean, before when Snow during Ellen Johnson study time, when they took off Snow, I think where is this there? Oh man, Mr. Tyler.
Tyler?
Yeah, right. That was Tyler, right? The one who built the it's a restaurant or what? A very big area on the Marshall. Yeah, you know. So what I'm saying is that this is what been going on in Liberia, and that the PSC, like you said, we are here to educate the Liberian people. You know, we can't keep making the same mistakes over and over, and we expect things to get better. It's hard. Look, even you try your best to go to Liberia, the people will fight you. Some of us who went to Liberia, we try to even live among the people. They fought us. We have to leave. We have to help from distance. So this is a problem. They have a full syndicate. They play among themselves. They work among themselves. They meet in a special corner and they create this kind of. So this thing here is something that most of the guys are aware of. It has to be investigated, and this thing will not go anywhere.
Like the decade, if you can, in 1 minute before Reverend Thomas take a shot at this, in 1 minute. 1 minute, 60 seconds.
Mm-hmm.
What does Thomas Falah stand to benefit kicking a CDC out for him to come in when both of them are all CDCians?
He stands to benefit by ascending to the position as a speaker.
Yeah, what does he want to gain? Because that's his party. His party is still in control.
Well, this is not, I mean, I'm not saying that his intention because it has not been proven. So I'm a legend. So which means for the common language, I'm assuming. So if that he's the one behind, I'm not going to refuse the fact that Deputy Speaker Fala doesn't have the financial strength to do that. No, that's not what I'm saying. This guy, he built a university. He alone built a university alone. He has money. Besides that, he had been in the House for so many years. 18. He had worked on so many committees, so he's financially equipped. So it's possible that he's the one. But if he's the one, why he's trying to do it is because he's trying to get, that self-accadasme, that accolade can make you to do whatever you want to do. So maybe he wants to be a speaker. In order to be a speaker, he wants to kick out Fonati. But now he can't take the full front because both of them from the same political party. That one theory. The second theory is the Unity Party could be using another person in the House so they can get a Fonati, also they can get control of the House. If the Unity Party controls the House, there are a lot they can do in their interest.
Well, some have cited tribal loyalty and the need to create a hegemony within the West. Mm-hmm. He's from Lofa County.
Yep.
The president is from Lofa County. I do not like to play this regional politics, but those are some of the theories cited. They have circulated a picture of him bowing to the president in an attempt to reconcile that we are from the same region. Let's consolidate power. For a long time, this region have not tasted power. Now it is here. So let's consolidate and work in a way that it remains here a long time. I don't know how plausible that will turn out, but those are the kinds of speculations people are making. There may be other motivations behind this. I don't know whether he has other ambition besides ascending to becoming the speaker proper of the House. But that tribal issue is very important because we see in Boakai's government, he's placing people in strategic position from Lofa. And in spite of the outcry out there, he is unreluctant in doing that. So that there could be some plausibility to that argument.
Right, and in addition, it could just be about the money. The more power you have, the more money you got.
Yeah, and that could be something. But I mean, Deputy Speaker Fala, I think he will go more for power than money because he has ambition. You know, so I think he's being an ambitious person, and that could be one of the theory. That's why he's trying to seek the speaker position, because after that he see himself to have that a future. You know, everybody now thinking about who's going to replace President Boakai when he leaves office. So all of those things are playing into the game, and everybody is trying to get themselves well situated. So that could be one of the situations. But besides that, man, with all of that, it's all against the interests of the Liberian people, and I think it's wrong.
Sad to mention this, but our mothers have been dragged into this. Thomas, you can complete your thought before you get to this one, but our mothers have been dragged into this.
Yeah, let me complete my thought this way. The two doctors, one of the things we have to take into consideration is that in today's political spectrums across the globe, there is this phenomenon of a political class. And political class transcend boundaries. You have a political class in the United States that has its tentacles in Liberia and other places on the globe. So that those that are currently in power in Liberia are answerable to the political capitalistic class across the globe. So let's see the movement of people. You are elected by funding from someone abroad, not your locals. your locals are not contributing anything to your political campaign, but rather you give them back a raise. But where do you get all these fundings? From people in other countries, out of Nigeria, the United States. So immediately after the election, where do the politicians go? Are they going in the interior to the local constituents? No, they do not. They go abroad, come to the United States. The first is thank you to those that funded their campaigns, all right? Or they go to Nigeria, Ghana, and so forth, from whence they got the funding. And so when the question is asked, why is it you're not funding agriculture, education, you're not going into it? That's the reason why they are not answerable to the people. Okay, so this political class control commerce, they control the industries. So if a business wants to go in Liberia, what do? They give money to the few people in power. And as long as the few people in power are satisfied, these companies get away with what they want to. Okay? And that is a dangerous game that is being played in the capitalist system that our local folks are not knowledgeable about, and they keep asking, oh, why is it our folks are turning their backs on us? They do that because they are not the ones that are supporting them. The representatives we have there, they had to raise money, right? Where did the money come from? The senators, where did the money, the president, where did the money come from? So those are the people that are driving the politics. So unless we change that, unless we change the finance, the campaign finance policy, said the locals, when we're having elections, the people that finance the election must be the local people. If we finance the election, the representative will be answerable to us because we have a stake in putting you there. But if we don't, hey, after the election, you want to pay back those people that elected you. So Mr. Barker said, I'm going to meet with my constituents to show appreciation to them. Where does he go? The United States. Yeah. That's the phenomenon we are dealing with. And that's why our roads are not being built. The hospitals in the interior are not being built. The schools are not being funded.
And interestingly, when he even came to the United States, we didn't see him engage the ordinary Liberians to begin with until a couple of weeks after. So right. who was in the United States that he came to really give thanks to? If they were a priority, that would have been the first step. But anyways, yeah. I shouldn't read too much into it. I still want to hit this line. Why are women dragging to this? Why are mothers dragging to this? Is this a shift in our politics now when it comes to corruption?
Reverend Thomas can start with that, because this is this is a tricky issue right there.
I do not want to exempt the women. Women have been an integral part of the Liberian body politics. We just had a woman's president, right? And she had to put a lot of strains to become the president. We've had them in other positions, but if it comes to corruption, they are human beings. And so they also have the tendency to be corrupt as well. So I'm not surprised that as more and more of them come into the limelight, they will show their true colors.
So 5 out of 8 women in the House of Representatives, so got one just rescinded her signature from that list. She doesn't want to be on that list no more. So they left 4 who's still standing strong. I hope there will be others who will come to say probably they're drawing the support from that corruption scandal. So, Doc, you're not running for this thing, Dr. Dickey.
Yeah. Okay. So, Dr. Pearson, a few years ago, the women were raising their voices that they wanted to be in the House of Parliament. They were giving example of other countries that they have females, and we all bowed down to the idea, oh yeah, it's good. We should give our mothers, our sisters the opportunity. But again, this is human nature. The money that we're talking about, have they returned the money? If you resend your signature, do you return the money? So who are you going to give the money to? Who did you take the money from that you're giving it back to them?
Maybe the Admiral Cornish will take it to Central Bank.
The Admiral Cornish will take it. So, like I said, the whole thing is a game. I keep telling you, this is a game, that is playing using the system. This thing here was orchestrated like maybe some months back. you know, and it has to do with regional, traditional politics. You know, the Lothians wants to hold on to power. When former President George Weah was in the presidency, the people from the southeast too were they were trying to get themselves into different positions. So Lothians now, I mean, all of these things. I'm sorry, you know, it doesn't make any sense. It's a gobbledygook, you know. We need to get away from these things. We need to think outside of the box. Our generation, they are being depleted. Liberia today, we do not have a foundation of anything. I must be frank with you. You know, I reached to a point now, I'm starting to realize where we're going to be in the next 10 or 20 years. Every time we keep solving yesterday problems, when we're going to stop solving tomorrow problem? Why the Americans, I mean, the other countries, they are solving problems for their children to come. But Liberia keep fighting among themselves. When you have election today, and that appears in you go in that election and you register to vote, they will not vote you. They will take people who they know, people who will bring bags of rice and t-shirts. So our mothers need, especially for those who are involved, they need to resend them signature. And they know, let us stand up for what is right. Again, I don't support any side of this whole thing. I feel like Speaker Fonati Kofi has a challenge that needs to be worked on. I also feel that the people too have their own problems as well. Now, who's telling us the truth? Who know where the money comes from? Speaker Fonati Kofi has money. Why, if he decide to play the game and give people money and say, "Look, come on and put on a show too," so they will counter-react to the whole thing? I mean, we just don't understand what is going on here. The Liberian people are the one who are victim. They're being played. Is it whether they're being played by the executive, whether they're being played by the legislature? We just don't know. Now, our females now caught up in the middle of this whole thing, but it doesn't mean we do not have females who are corrupt. And what they have done, you know, is a shame. They are mothers. I think they should come and make a press statement. They should, you know, let us stand for the truth. If they feel that Speaker Kofi is in the right, let us stand with him. If they feel that the 47 or what some more representative what is saying is true, then let us stand by them. And that's just my own personal opinion. I'm entitled to that.
Reverend Thomas, what advice do you have for our mothers also? Maybe going forward.
Well, going forward, I you know, we hold our mothers in high regard. Where the men fail, we expect the women exercising foresight to make the right decision. And so I expect our mothers to be ethical, to be the ones that are transparent, to be the ones that really show us the way to go. And so those that are involved in taking bribe, I agree with that. They should return those monies and think about the many, many wounds that Liberians have suffered as the result of corruption. Think about the lives that have been lost over the years, whose blood are continuously crying because of corruption, violence, and disregard for human dignity. So our mothers should be the ones we run to if we are confused, to show us the way. So they should resent that money, they should return it, they should think about the new Liberia built on respect for human rights, respect for law and order, respect for the dignity of human beings. And so in this new Liberia going forward, let's look at the human beings as being the most valuable creation. And this takes me to my religious background that our God has made. And therefore, the rights of the human being must be respected. If we look at a human being as being very valuable, then we'll not do anything against their rights, against the development, against the progress. Okay? So the Liberian personality and the Liberian land is a secret land. The Liberian person is a secret that have been violated a long time ago, from time immemorial. Let's rebuild our country based on the sanctity of life. If you recognize the sanctity of life, you will not steal the money that have been allocated for education. You will not steal the money that have been allocated for hospital care and the money for road. But if you do not, if you are loyal to your external sources, then of course you'll disregard the Liberian personality. For a long time, we have disrespected ourselves and our people. And this is the core of the problem we are facing.
All right. This is the core of the problem we are facing. You are viewing what we refer to as the melting pot, where all knowledge and wisdom and understanding are brought to bear on trending issues in Liberia, our common denominator. Liberia is all we have, and we take the time to discuss trending issues and conversations in Liberia. Because if we don't take part, things will still go on. But our views and our analysis and opinion and recommendations are important to help our country move forward. So the melting pot comes on every Monday, Wednesdays, and Fridays, 6 p.m. Eastern Time. In Liberia, we say that's around 10 p.m. in the evening when you are relaxing and you are laying back in your homes. And then you can take some time to listen to us. But having heard all of the conversation around this point, gentlemen, I'm going to play Speaker Kofa's initial response to what is going on, and let me get the reaction, and then we'll go around the table and take our closing parting statement. But we have to first just briefly talk about Speaker Kofa's initial response. Let's hear what he has to say after the press bumped into him this morning.
Okay.
The members who are here and talk to other members, I agree with the ambassador that confrontation, not negotiation, better than confrontation. Talking to our friends and brothers who have grievances, we take our time. I think at the legislature we have a request pressure government. We are a little embarrassed at what transpired last week. We want to assure the public it will not happen again. We will do everything we can to work through whatever issues we have to make sure confidence of the public is restored in this nation of government. This is a family here, and we disagree. Sometimes we disagree loudly, sometimes we take notices of our actions. But at the end of the day, the Nigerian people have our highest responsibility and care. And because of the Nigerian people, we are forced to find a negotiated way out of any crisis that we have. To the extent that anybody was offended by what happened last week, I was here about the marriage body, all of the members, all 72 of us, apologize for our mistake. We will use the next few hours to try to bring the shape of state of the legislature back to where the Nigerian people expected. We have good friends all around. This is disagreement about tactics and attitudes. It's not a disagreement about principle. So based on that, we will. Now, having said that, we've seen the grievances of the other side. In all fairness, why the grievance is on the record, our response will be on the record. We ask you to stay tuned again. The legislature at the end of the day will stand as one body from the 5th, as we always do, even in the midst of our disagreement and our wants. So please bear with us. I will not be taking questions because I will not want to exacerbate any situation right now until our consultation. Thank you all.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
There you go. Do you think so, gentlemen? Did he handle this well? His first interaction with the press on this matter, did he handle it well?
Reverend Thomas?
Yeah, to my mind, he was poised. He got his views across effectively. He did not take questions. I hope he had taken questions. He talked about tactics. He talked about the fact that there may be misunderstanding, but in the end, he wished that the legislature will operate in an ethical way. So to my mind, he handled it well. But what I want the legislators in general to be mindful of is that their employers, the people of Liberia, do expect them to operate in an ethical, constitutional manner. Yes, they do have the right to remove a speaker, but the removal of speaker must be in keeping with the laws. We no longer want chaos in our governance system. We've had too much of chaotic proceedings in our governments. So we thought this would be a changed government operating under the rule of law, guided by the strictest ethical standards. But instead, we find some members of the legislature taking bribes, using their cases, not one, two, but three cases where there are allegations that bribes have been given to legislature to either do their work. These monies are exorbitant. They could have been used to fund other entities such as education, healthcare, and other amenities that are needed in the rural areas that are absent now. So it's troubling for legislators to walk away with that amount of money when our mothers and fathers are finding it difficult to take their children, to fund their children that are going to school. So they should rethink their strategies and think about the Liberian people first and foremost, because the Liberian people are their employers, and we are holding them accountable to change course or will be forced to do otherwise. Thank you.
Dr. Deke, you think Speaker Kofa's first interaction with the press was handled well?
Well, I think he's been very careful because he just returned. This is someone who his position has been threatened by his colleagues, and he needs to be very careful how he engaged the issue. But he did it for me. I would tell you personally, it didn't go down well. It was not in the interest of the Liberian people. The Liberian people actually want to get to the nitty-gritty of this whole thing, but he wouldn't come like that and then just pick up the issue. But again, it all boils down to accountability. They have the responsibility. They have to hold themselves accountable. And we expecting the House to be responsible people. They have allegations of bribery. So we're hoping that they can investigate the issue. They have to submit themselves, commit themselves to the process so that the Liberian people can clearly understand that what happened at that house, it has to go away. It has become cultural. It has become a tradition now that money just go from hand to hand. The people money. I mean, people just enriching themselves. I mean, just a representative. I don't know if it's true, but it was alleged that they make about $8,000 a month, besides other benefits, and they just received $45,000. These people were striking. They were riding keke to go to work, forcing the Liberian people to buy them vehicles. They just gave them $45,000 each. Then recently, allegedly, they have received $15,000 again. I mean, why the Liberian people languishing in abject poverty? That appears, our show has come to an end, but a lot to talk about Liberia.
Let me spin it this way. Then you can in response you can give the closing, and then you can comment. Do we think this 15 million playing any role in this whole saga? That 15 million of budget expenditure that included 2.3 million of unexplained miscellaneous.
But that was what I was about to come to. That was what I was about to come to. You have free money. You got 15 million playing, in the recast budget, unexplained. So this is unexplained messaludence. That's their own definition of unexplained messaludence. So they place this money into different areas. They go for them and they use them so that they can, benefit themselves. That appears in this. We have to discourage it. And this is why the melting pot is here. We're going to elevate the discussions. We're going to educate our people. We're going to come to them and tell them, look, you got to vote wisely. You got to stop voting for these people. They are not, in your interest. They are for themselves. So we're not going to stop. You know, and I want to thank every one of you. I want to thank the Reverend Thomas for coming and forming part of the team. You know, let us just keep telling the Liberian people that's the only thing we can do. Let's just keep educating them. Let's sensitize them. Let's continue the process. Let keep teaching them and telling them, look, this is what we can do. If we continue this process, I'm very sure the Liberian people will come to themselves, because they are the one who bearing the consequences right now. So thank you for the opportunity again. I just thank all of you for forming part of this process, and let us keep the ball rolling.
Reverend Thomas, you think the 15 million that they did off budget expenditure with almost 2.3 million as unexplained miscellaneous part of the whole saga?
It could have influenced certain processes, such as what we're discussing now, and that is why this unbudgeted aspect of our Liberian financial operations should be discouraged. We should not allow this culture of irresponsibility to continue, and that's why we are asking for help. When I last visited Liberia, that was a few years back now, there was this African American Marine that had not gone to Liberia, was just visiting. He had been told about Liberia for a long time. He expected a developed country. So he started asking, but with all the money that America has been spending, is this what you guys have here? So the monies have been going in the pockets of individuals that have developed a very sophisticated consumption pattern. We know how to consume, we know how to dress, but we do not know how to produce. We do not know how to develop. And if I were just to go on and on, that is the problem. And we're not accountable to our people. When we are sick, where do we go? We go abroad. All right, we'd rather come abroad than to go to Zwedru or to go to River G. It's easier to come abroad and ride the people's streets, right? And use the people's facilities. And you go back home, you only stay in Monrovia. Why? Because you have developed an appetite of consumption based on the West, but the West have worked tremendously hard to build the nation where it is. So for us, we have not developed the capitalistic free enterprise system. And therefore, people go in government with the intention of getting money that have been produced in the West by free capital, individual enterprise. We do not have our own factories. We do not have our own businesses. So we go to the government and think that's the source where we can get wealth. But the people that represent the people on this side of the world have enterprise themselves. They have their own businesses. So they do not go in government to steal. They go in government for the contribution they can make. I had a Mayor Blumber, billionaire. He did not take government vehicles. He rode a subway. All right? So that missing link within the Liberian personality of being a capitalist, enterprising, building businesses, developing, we must now come to the time where we develop that aspect. All right? Capitalism is based on free enterprise system. The businesses employ, the businesses form things. The government exists just to enable businesses to thrive. But instead, what we have people going in government, they don't have money, they steal the money from government and they bluff. And they do not solve problems. So that culture has to be dismantled. And that's dismantling of that culture starts from the information we are providing. So government enable business development, enable the people, make a way where the people will have the free way to enterprise themselves, to develop themselves, to build roles. Okay? Not everybody have to go in government. See how many people want to occupy a position in the Congress, in legislature. So the missing link must be provided. Respect the individual in Liberia, let them enterprise, let them develop, let them establish their own businesses, and thereby they'll improve, they'll make use of the environment, they will enterprise. And people will not want to go in government. Make government unattractive. Thank you, Doc.
Thank you. Thank you to Dr. Deke and Reverend Thomas for the show tonight. I just want to summarize a few things that we covered today. The legislature is under fire at the lower house, with the LACC now beginning to start a probe. The LACC chair lady spoke to BBC and said that they've received information and they're going after the money to see where the money came from and who hands the money went to. This morning, there was a massive display at the Samuel Kayando Sports Complex in District 6, where I'm from, in Montserrat County, where the joint security was demonstrating and practicing how to handle riot, and they were using live tear gas and what they call it, rubber bullets, rubber bullets in the demonstration. I guess they were showing force to tell Liberian people, if you come on the street, you'll be resisted strongly, and we are equipped to handle you. But yet instead, we see some Liberians are saying, we will be there tomorrow to give this government what they want, which means the legislature is convening tomorrow, and some young people are saying they will be there to stand up with the speaker. Is that what we want in Liberia? Do we want to see a well-equipped police force that will go and manhandle our people because they have the equipment and the capacity? Or like Reverend Thomas saying, do we want to have opportunities created for them so that they have no reason to be in the streets to begin with? And our government can be responsible enough so that our people can trust their leadership and have no need to be going after them for bad corruption practices. And last but not the least, Boakai has another investigation on his hand. I know LACC already looking into Boakai's, the Boakai government, for the $15 million. Now they're going to add another $1.1 million bribery within the legislature to that. So the young lady list is getting long. The investigation list is getting long. Do we have the capacity to sustain this investigation? Well, we don't know, but we pray that Liberia will find its footing back to where we're supposed to be. With that, we come to the close of the Melting Pot, a 1 hour 30-minute production of the Liberia Sustainable Development Think Tank. And as we bring this program to a close, we want to play the song that says, listen, Crime Stopper, go make sure you check your doors, your windows, check and double check and make sure that your homes are not left vulnerable for anyone to attack you tonight and rob you as crime increase in our country. Again, thank you for joining us in your homes and with your families. Be safe tonight. Gentlemen, I just hook up for a second and stay online for 1 minute as we listen to Crime Stopper, and our people can take you from there and to secure themselves before they go to bed tonight.
In every community, you can see. So if you see crime, hold it. Don't tell her in your hand for the right authority. Tell it, don't take your it. Crime Stopper here for us. When you set them to your door, whether you rich or you poor. If you see a you not talking, I mean you judge it. Do it for yourself. If you see it, don't keep it. I'm about to report it. Crime Stopper, the people bringing safety to your door. Crime Stopper, stopping crime and making peace for them before. Crime Stopper, Liberia, from the center to interior. Crime Stopper, keeping us in the storm. For all of our Crime Stopper, the people bringing safety to your door. Crime Stopper, stopping crime and making peace for them before. Crime Stopper, Liberia, from the center to interior. Keeping us in the storm.
Crime Stopper Liberia is here for you. Remember, you see it, you report it. This is a message from your own self-movement, Women Sense.
Crime Stopper, the people bringing safety to your door. Crime Stopper, stopping crime and making peace for them before. Crime Stopper, Liberia.